Hi, I'm Jerry Ford and welcome to Creating Text for Multi-Hooping using your MasterWorks software. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do to create this multi-hoop poem is to open up my MasterWorks III. So I'm going to double click on this icon and this should come up. Okay, the first thing I want to do is set my hoop size. So I'm going to select the hoop that the largest hoop that my machine will take, and I'm going to rotate it. So I would go to Hoop, select my hoop, and for this exercise we're going to assume that the largest hoop I have is a 5x7 hoop. So I'm going to select the 130 by 180 and I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. So I'm going to hit OK. The reason is you want to use your largest hoop because you're going to be doing multiple hooping, so you want the widest dimension to be the length of your biggest hoop. So, okay, then I'm going to start typing in my my lettering. So I'm going to go up here to text, and I'm going to select regular text. Then I'm going to click somewhere near the top. And then over here where it automatically comes up by saying my text. So first thing I want to do is I don't want that font. So I'm going to come down here to the properties box. Let's see, you can use your arrow key to scroll up and down, and here it shows you what the font looks like. So the one I want to pick is, actually I like that one, Bookworm. Okay, and I'm going to see what happens with the default size of 0.79 inches. If you have your settings on your preferences here that just show millimeters, it will also show millimeters here. I like inches, so I'm going to use 0.79. Then I'm going to come over to this properties box and I'm going to type in what I want to say. So I'm going to say rules of the kitchen. And I'll hit apply. It's going to take a little bit. Okay, it's a little too big. I also want to align it in the center, because that is actually too big for this. So I'm going to come over here and just put in a carriage return after the word the, and I have this in the center. I'll hit apply again. Okay, I like that. And I'm going to move it into the center. Actually, I want to come over here to modify, put it in the center, and then just move it straight up till it's just inside that hoop. Okay, I'm going to come down here now and add some more text. And I recommend you only add a line or two of text at a time, because you're going to have to manually split this design into several hoopings. So therefore you don't want to keep putting more and more carriage returns because it makes it a little harder to divide, because I want to divide it where I want to divide it rather than using a hoop splitting software, because then it could actually split that design in the middle of a line of text, and I really don't want to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and add the second row of text, and I don't want to use this font. So I just click in here anywhere, and this time I want to switch it to let's see, I'm going to block. I think I'll go up here to some of the blocks. I want this one kind of plain, so I like block 2. If you want to know if this font will take numbers, you just click on this question mark right here, and it will tell you that it's taking uppercase, lowercase, special characters, as well as numbers and punctuation marks. And it's going to give you a recommended minimum and maximum height for these satin stitches here. So I'm going to go ahead and change that to block, and this time I'm going to type in 1, 2 days, menu, dash, eat it or starve. Okay. And then I'll hit the return key, and it's probably going to be way too big. Yep, way too big. Okay, let's make these letters a little smaller. That sort of overpowers the title. So I think I'll go to 0.35. It's still too big, so I'm going to come over here and put in a character return with 1 line or so, and hit apply and see what that looks like. Okay, that looks good. Oh, one other thing is that I want the rest of this to be left aligned instead of in the center, so I'm going to hit left. Right down here in the alignment, I'm going to put that and apply it to left and then apply it. This is not aligned. I want this S to be underneath of the T, and so I'm just going to hit a space over here on the text box. Okay, that looks good. And I'll scoot this over. Whenever you see a hand, that means that you can scoot the whole thing over. And I think I'll move it up some. I think I want to change the color too. I think I'll change that. I think I'll change this one to like teal. Oh, goodness, I can't spell. It's not rules or the kitchen, it's rules of the kitchen. Much better. Okay, I'm going to select text again. Same. Come down here and do 2. The second row, I want to change this font. So I'm going to go to block 2 also, and I'm going to change this to 0.35, not 735. Okay, and I want it to be left aligned. And I want this one to say 2. If you want breakfast in bed, sleep in the kitchen. Okay, now that's going to be too big, but let's just see where we have to divide it. Okay, so I think it's after the word bed, or before the word bed. I'll put in a carriage return. And a space and hit apply. Okay, again I want to align this B underneath the I. So I'm going to come here before the B and put in a space. You have to manually align that. It doesn't work very well. There we go. Perfect. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead and write the rest of the poem, and I will be right back. You can see that this entire poem is much bigger than the hoop, so we're going to have to divide this up. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit towards the bottom of this hoop. We can see that a little better. Okay, so I think I want to divide it after number 3. So I'm going to come up here where I have a little more space, and I'm going to make a little reference line. So I'm going to take some artwork and a line, draw, because I'm going to come over here and I'm going to draw a little reference line. So I'm going to start over here, come there, go to the center, come up and down, and maybe over to here and up again, maybe. Okay, now I'm going to right click. I want to make that red. I want to be able to see it, and I also want to apply stitches, so I'm going to make it a run stitch, and I'm going to come over here and make it much bigger. So I'm going to, instead of being a 3 stitch length, I'm going to go to at least a 4 stitch length, so because I'm going to have to pick this stitch out. This is how we're going to align the multiple hoopings. Okay, now I'm going to scoot this down so that it's right underneath the second row, but still inside the hoop. I want to put it right between them. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is what I'm going to do first is once I have it all stitched in, I'm going to save this. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to save this as Rules of the Kitchen, my master, or I want it to be my master setup, so I'm going to hit Master. I want it to be a BLF file because I want to come back and make changes, and hit Save. And I've already saved it a few times already. Okay, now what I want to do here is now we need to divide this up. So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to select this one text right there and delete it. Delete this one. Make this bigger and get the rest of them. Now I want to eliminate all of these at a time. So I'm going to select all of them. Delete it. Okay. So now this fits in that hoop very nicely, and so this one I'm going to save as, and I'm going to call this one Rules 1. And I'm going to say top because I'm going to tell myself that I'm starting at the top of this poem, not at the bottom. Some of them I'll set so I start stitching at the bottom, and then I'll save that again in BLF form. And I'm also going to save this as a PES file because then I will know whether it fits in that hoop or not. And I didn't hear any warnings saying it wouldn't fit, so we're good to go. Okay. Now the next thing I want to do is copy this reference line over here. I want to copy that. Okay. Now I'm going to undo everything I took out. Okay, everything is back and we're back to normal. Okay, so now I want to remove what is in here in the hoop that we just saved. So I'm going to delete that one. That one. And that one. Okay, I'm going to select everything and move it up into the hoop. So I selected all items. Okay, I want to make sure that this reference line also fits in that hoop. Okay, now we can only go to number 6. And actually what I'm going to do is paste first. So there's that line. And I'm going to make this a little bigger so I can position this, because now I'm going to take this one and move it down. That 7, 8, and 9 is going to be my next hooping. This is going to be the second. And the other thing I want to do is I want to I have 2 reference lines. One at the top, so it'll match it up with the first hooping. And I want a second one which is down here so I can match it up with the next hooping. So I'm going to take this one here and I'm going to move it first. So I'm going to go to Move First. So now it's going to stitch that first. So I am now going to come down here and I'm going to eliminate 7, 8, and this last one, 9. Okay, now I'm going to save this as my second file. So I'm going to go File, up here to Save As, and make this one Rules 2. So that's the second one I'm going to save. And here's how it's going to stitch out. What it's going to do first, it's going to stitch out that reference line. It'll stitch out the reference line. Then it'll stitch the text. And the last thing it will do is stitch the second reference line. Okay, now we've saved that one as number 2. Okay, so now here's my second hooping. Now I'm ready to do the third hooping. I'm going to come back here to this undo key and undo, undo, and one more time. It should be complete. There we go, and now it's back complete. So now for the third hooping, I'm going to come up here and eliminate. I'm going to use my select key and eliminate all of the things that I've done in the second hooping. Okay, hit the delete key and they're all gone. Take all items, bring them up into this hooping. Bring that up into the hoop. Okay, the only thing I want to remind you is not to forget to take the second reference line that we added at the top, and I'm going to move this and stitch it first. Move it first. Okay, now we'll go ahead and save it. And that's the end of it. And I will save that as number 3. Okay, now that I've got all 3 files saved, then I will save them to my jump stick, and then let's go to the machine and I'll show you how I stitch these out. Be sure to watch the next video, Sewing Your Multi-Hoop Text, so that you'll know how to sew this out on your 5x7 hoop. If you have any questions, give us a call at Attic Treasures in Occoquan, Virginia at 703-490-1536. See you in a little bit.